So I'm 31 years old. I weigh 215 pounds. I'm a relatively big guy. I certainly don't look like someone who if I were to just objectively look at myself from an outside perspective, I wouldn't guess that it would be very easy to bully or make fun of me. And I haven't dealt with anyone in my life as an adult who has even tried in like forever. Like, I can't think of the last time that happened to me. And recently, well, over the last few months, I have been subject to a dynamic with someone whom I of course will not name because it's not about this person, but I've been subject to what I now reflect on as some bullying type of behavior, or some behavior that I wouldn't consider just having fun with, but sort of like being made fun of by another person. And it was so off my radar that it was happening that when I realized that I was upset about it, or struggling with it, or feeling bad about it, it was like hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, holy crap! I think I've been getting bullied a little bit, but it's so foreign to me at this point in my life that until it was horribly obvious, I didn't know why I was getting so frustrated or feeling so down about it or whatever. So I'll paint you a little bit of a picture, and then I will tell you how I dealt with being made fun of or being bullied at 31 years old, at 215, 5'11". Now, I want to be clear. I have a bazillion friends, and we talk a ton of crap to each other, and we make fun of each other, and we tease each other, and we harass each other, but we know each other, and we love each other, and we know it's in good fun, and all of us, all of my closest friends, are always putting each other's best interest first. So when we tease, when we make fun of, when we bully each other, it's not real. It's like we understand the context. So I am referring to a situation where I did not know the individual well enough for any of it to make sense. So here's the background really quick. And if that individual happens to be watching this video, I of course will not name this person. Just know that I'm using this as a learning moment. I don't believe you're a bad person inherently. I think you just were misguided and you made some weird choices, and we fixed it, I think. And I'll explain why. So yeah, I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, but it just is what it is. Look at me already worrying about the person who was being a dick. So a few months ago, I was introduced to a dude through a mutual friend who, in the midst of like being at a party or a social gathering, learned something personal about me. Everyone else at this place I knew very well. And in the context of hanging out, this person learned some personal information about myself that not very many people know. In hindsight, I realized I should have been more cautious, but I tend to just be an open book about my feelings, my thoughts, my experiences. I've always found, at least in the last handful of years, that sharing openly and honestly with people tends to lead to open and honest reciprocation. So this person learned something about me, and then immediately, something that might be considered private, embarrassing, or whatever, immediately started making fun of me for it. Just teasing me a little bit that night, a few months ago. And I remember even then being like, like I didn't know this person at all. I didn't know this dude at all. But I was like, like, all right. I'm like, I guess this is their way of trying to like socialize or be funny. I didn't think too much of it, but it instantly struck a chord like, that's weird. No one's ever made fun of me about that. That being said, maybe he just is trying to connect. I don't know why people do the things they do. Long story short, a couple months later, came into contact with the same person again, and even though I'd forgotten that this person even knew this private thing, the social situation before, even though it ended awkwardly, I forgot about it. But this person brought up my personal bit of information and made fun of me in front of other people again after 2 months, which I found to be very strange because, one, I didn't know this person very well. Two, I couldn't believe he was like holding on to this little bit of information he learned about me, a little something from my past, and that really struck me as odd. But I feel like it's just in my nature to give people the benefit of the doubt, or to just give them the assumption of goodwill, that once again, even though once he did this, I kind of was like, okay, for sure, like I just tried to brush right past it, it started to bother me. And I didn't say anything then. And that's too bad. That's too bad, because what can happen when you do that is you can start to harbor resentments. And I have not been subject to being mocked and teased by someone I didn't know, who I wasn't sure had my best interest in mind, for so long that I couldn't recognize the behavior and I couldn't respond appropriately quick. I just sort of sat with it because it didn't make sense to me. The way he was behaving just didn't make sense to me. And so I immediately, because I want to think of others, I was like, oh, there must be reasons why he's doing this. I'm sure it's not truly malicious. Whatever, because I'm not trying to stir up trouble. That situation ended. A couple months more went by. It brings us back to basically present day, within the last week or two, let's say. I was in another situation with this person. You're probably wondering, why the hell do you keep seeing this person? It's not entirely within my control. We have a mutual friend, and even though I don't know this person, I'm not ever trying to be close to this person, the mutual friend has made it so, like, fuck, I have to see this person every now and then. It just seems to be the way it is, although I've set new boundaries within myself. But so recently, I saw this person again, and this dude's an alpha dude, and so am I. I saw this person again, and I just tried my best to just have a good time, act normal, be myself, you know, go with the instincts that I trust about myself. And we were in a closed, confined environment, aka a car, headed somewhere, and it came up again. Dude made fun of me again about this thing he learned about me a few months ago. And at this point, now I'm piping hot. Now I'm getting pissed about it. It's like I had just been stuffing it when I should have just been open and communicated about it, to the point where I was like, damn, like, I'm gonna have to do something about this. Like, I'm officially not gonna let anybody make me feel bad or belittle me for the amusement of others. Like, do something like that at my expense. Fuck that. But what was disappointing was that, like I said, I hadn't brought this up sooner. Later that night, he said something again, and I was like, this dude officially has some sort of screw loose. Why would anybody hold on to this like this? Is he trying to... I just couldn't understand at this point. I'm baffled by his behavior. Don't know anyone that would do it. Just don't. So the next day, pulled him aside, and I let him know, in the most peaceful manner that I could, that when he did this, it was bothering me, it was making me feel bad, it was affecting me, and that I really needed him to stop. I tried to give him a little bit of background so I could try to communicate with him as a person, not as some sort of, you know, I didn't try to threaten or intimidate him. I just said, it can't happen anymore, and it wasn't okay for him to make fun of me for it. His response was doable. It was fine. He was like, oh, I didn't know it was a big deal. I was like, well, I don't know you. I was like, I don't know you from Adam. What would make you think that it would be appropriate to talk down at me about this stuff? That's just crazy. And so I think now it won't be a problem going forward. And the lesson for me is that if my gut tells me that something's wrong or that I'm not okay with someone's behavior, how they're going to respond to me letting them know my truth and what's going on with me is not my business. And I was so worried about not making this person feel weird that I continued to let him take from me. Take energy from me, take time from me, take headspace from me. And I did that to make it better for everyone else. And so I think the point is, I need people in my life who fill my cup. I don't have a ton of extra space for people that take from it. This dude was taking from it, and I should have recognized that immediately and said something. Now, if I'm never going to see someone again, who cares? I mean, I can just remove myself from the situation. But if there's a chance that I was going to see someone again and they were crossing a boundary with me, I need to make sure that I speak my truth and communicate and use my words early. And I think that if there is a lesson for you guys, it's that if there's anyone taking from your cup, not adding to it, but taking from it, one, assess that relationship. Like, I now realize I don't have to put any time and effort into that relationship. I'm going to set my boundaries. Don't cross me again. And move on with my life. And hopefully this person is a good person. I hope he is. That would be convenient. But I don't have to be his friend. I don't. And I can set boundaries and protect myself. Make sure that I have people in my life who fill me up. Don't take away from me. I'm too old. I don't have the energy for anyone that's taking and not giving. And so, yeah, the silver lining from the experience is that, one, I will recognize this sooner. Two, don't harbor resentments. It's poison. And three, for you, if you have a similar situation where, like, you're just not sure if someone has your best interest at heart or they're starting to make you feel bad, give them the assumption of goodwill that maybe they're not meaning to, but communicate it to them. Don't just assume, oh, they're probably just, I don't know, kind of off socially or weird. Like, no. Pull them aside and challenge them to have a human interaction with you. Let them know that they are affecting you and give them a chance to acknowledge your feelings and reciprocate. Now, best case scenario, person is going to acknowledge you. It might not necessarily be the acknowledgement you want, but they're going to at least acknowledge that they understand they can't do it anymore, or that they are affecting you negatively, and then it'll be improved. Perhaps you'll be closer for it, or at least you know that that won't be a problem anymore because they have validated you, or they're total pricks about it, and you completely out them as a terrible person in your life. Like, you out them and you identify them as someone that, oh cool, like, I will not be spending any more time with you or having any more effort or energy put into you. Great, at least you figure out either way. So the point is, communicate respectfully, gently, kindly, but assertively. Assertively, because people sometimes they just need to hear it. And some people are not used to being called out for their behavior. And the more people that we can hold accountable in a respectful, reasonable way, the better. The better for them, the better for you, the better for the world. I just feel like so many people go unchecked in these ways. And it's a bummer that I let someone go unchecked for as long as I did, because I'm not used to having to sun another person. But just do what you got to do. I'd rather someone pull me aside and be like, hey man, when you do this, this is how you're impacting me or others. Like, make me aware if I'm being weird, or if I'm making you feel uncomfortable, or if my behavior is impacting other people. I pride myself in being pretty in touch with how my behavior impacts others. So when I meet people that don't have that social awareness as much, it's foreign to me. I forget that there are people out there that they just don't know. They just don't know how they come across, how their actions affect other people, how their words affect other people, or they don't care. And you sort out that they're just pricks. Either way, it's good to know. That's my video. That's my time. I bet a bunch of you are like, what the hell did you tell this person? It's nothing too crazy, but the point is, we all have things that we're like, I'll keep that private. It's for me. And I guess that's the other part. Careful who you share private stuff with. I know it's funny coming from me. I have like a YouTube channel where I'm constantly sharing private stuff, but careful who you share private stuff with. You don't know how they might use it, and you need to be sure that the people you're opening up to have your best interests in mind, because you never know who you're really talking to. And I'm so used to talking to a certain brand of person that this has really thrown me off. But it's been good. It's been a learning experience. Yeah. Not only was that really helpful for me to be able to share that with you, this is therapy for me. You guys have always been you guys are my family, my herd, my community, my therapists, my friends. You know, I see this dynamic that we have as such, and I hope you got something out of it. Please share your experiences below as might pertain to this whole thing, if you like. I would love to read them. And we'll see you guys in the next video. I mentioned a couple of videos ago, I have some plans for this channel. I want to try some things. I want to vlog more, bring into my life a little bit more. I think that could be cool. I just haven't. I need to get a different camera with better autofocus, and got some other updates. But yeah, this video's long enough. We'll see you in the next video. And again, if said person who knows I have a YouTube channel happens to watch this, I didn't use your name on purpose. I don't really know you. We already had this conversation. Please don't feel embarrassed. No one knows this is you but you. So it's all good. This is just what I do. I communicate stuff, but I have the decency, of course, not to out anyone. And this is just my perspective and my opinion. This is my truth. Come see me if you have a problem with it. And we can talk it out like adults. Peace.